everyone and welcome to the channel. You've joined me today in the Audi RS4 Avant. The car has just been launched in South Africa. Audi chose to launch 15 kind of refreshed high performance models, S cars as well as RS cars, and the RS4 Avant is one of those cars that has recently been facelifted and given some new technology as well as just kind of updates to bring it in line for 2021. So what's new for 2021 is the kind of refreshed bumpers, a new look at the front, darkened headlights on this car, and then some interior tweaks with the latest MMI system, and then a couple of tweaks to the steering wheel. You've got an RS mode button on the steering wheel now, similar to what BMW does with their M1 and M2 setup. You have an RS mode button that can switch RS mode 1, RS mode 2, and then those can be customized to your preferred settings. So if you like one mode to be kind of a comfort or efficiency setting, and then you can make mode number 2 your high performance setting with your traction control kind of tape it back, dial up into sport mode for the engine and things like that. So there's so many features actually that it's kind of overwhelming at first, but you get used to it very quickly because being an Audi, everything is laid out very nicely. You've got actual buttons for things like your traction control and your engine stop start and the parking system and things like that, but you can control a lot of the settings through the infotainment system. This car is also fitted with the virtual cockpit digital driver's display, and as far as those kind of digital cockpits go, this is one of the best. You can bring up a map if you like, or you can have actual dials that go the right way in terms of moving clockwise, and I really like the design. It's traditional Audi kind of feel, but brought into a digital age with the digital screens and the touch points, a very nice flat bottom steering wheel with just the right amount of buttons on it. And you can hear the absolutely amazing note that this car gives out. It's got a sports exhaust that kind of purrs very nicely when you want it to, depending on your throttle position. But if you climb on the power, and especially in dynamic mode, it's very noisy. It does that whole snap crackle pop thing where it will give you these nice burbling sounds. Now I've spent a couple of days driving the car and assessing its qualities, and I think I'll start with the engine first. The engine is a 2.9 litre V6, and it's obviously turbocharged to get 331 kilowatt as well as 600 Newton meters out of it, and all that power and torque is sent through an 8-speed Tiptronic to all 4 wheels. Unlike your latest generation BMW M cars, where you can send 100% of the power to the back in a rear wheel drive mode on those X-Drive cars, this quattro system is still all-wheel drive, we can call it. It will variate power and shuffle it around, but you'll never ever get 100% of the power going to the back. It will send more power to the back. I believe upward of 60% of power and torque will be sent to the back. And if you have the active sports diff in the car, it can sort of then vector the power to each wheel on each corner. But it is a mechanical system, it's a heavy system, and it works really well in those instances where you're trying to get on the power early, get out of the corners early. If you enjoy grip driving and kind of just powering through bends and getting the most maximum amount of G-force in your bends, this car will blow your mind because it just has so much grip. You carry the right amount of speed into a bend, and then you clip it and you kind of climb on that power again, and you just let the all-wheel drive system sort you out. Of course, if you go very fast into a corner and into some of the bends with these cars, with these Audi RS cars, and particularly this RS4, you're going to get that front end push it kind of plows a bit wide. The traditional understeer that you get from Audis, they're not gone. It's not gone away. You're still going to get a bit of understeer on the very, very limit. But if you dial it back and drive it at about 9/10, just beyond where it kind of struggles in terms of grip, and you keep the car there on the boil, it's such an amazing and rewarding car to drive. You get all these sensations through the steering wheel, which is actually amazing considering it's electric. These bucket seats are comfortable and kind of mounted in a way that you get just the right amount of vibrations through them. Visibility from the car then on that point, very nice, because you're in the Avant body style. You've got this big glass house around you, nice narrow A-pillars, so you don't have big blind spots when you're negotiating intersections and things like that. And driving the car, exploring the engine, exploring the gearbox, is absolutely fantastic. In fact, it's one of the performance bargains right now, and I know it costs around 1.3 million rand as standard, but if you look at what you would spend on more premium cars, sports cars with premium badges and things like that, you're going to spend double to get this kind of punch in a compact family car. So engine, gearbox, drivetrain, driving the car, absolutely amazing. You won't be disappointed. Maybe you will feel a little bit disappointed that it doesn't go 0 to 100 under 4 seconds. This car still takes about 4.1 seconds against the clock from 0 to 100. But you can get some enjoyment out of it on the drag strip, because when you launch this car, it launches so ferociously. Anything else, front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, while they're still on the line, spinning, struggling for grip, you have launched, you've gone through first gear and you're into second gear, and maybe then those cars will start catching up with you depending on what you're having a bit of a dice with. But this car is so rewarding in terms of the way it delivers its performance. So if you are considering one, you know you're going to get an absolutely performance oriented model that will give you all the speed you need, all the engagement you need, and it really is going to blow your mind. I mean, I was actually expecting it to be a bit quieter inside. I expected Audi to have dialed this car back in terms of the emissions laws now, and all the nanny systems that they have to fit and everything. But the car is actually even more fun to drive than the pre-facelift car that I drove a couple of years ago. So driving perspective, I give it a thumbs up, and I think if you're looking for something with space, performance, and you don't want an SUV, this is the only car you can actually look at around this price point. So go ahead and take one for a spin, and let me know in the comments if you think it delivers the kind of performance that you like in a compact, family-oriented sports car. And what we'll do now is I'm going to find a nice quiet spot, pull over, and then I'll walk you around the outside of the car so that you can see what it looks like, and then I'll run you through some of the spec that's fitted to this car, because it has a lot of options in it. I think around 250,000 rand worth of options. So yeah, let's find a nice spot, we'll pull over, and then I'll show you around the outside of the new 2021 Audi RS4 Avant. Sonoma green, which I really like. It plays really nicely in the sun. It's got this like gold flake in it, kind of a classic metallic flake look, but it looks really nice with these darker kind of smoked LED taillights, which is new for the facelift, of course. And then there's a lot of options on this car. Some of the options I'll run through right now. Let's see what we have here. We have this trailer hitch. Of course, the trailer hitch will be an option, and it's a no-cost option. I think one of the only no-cost options you get on the car. And on the side, we've got the wheels, which is actually standard. A nice wheel and tire package, 275/30/20 on the back. And then at the front, we've got the 275/30/20s as well. So they match kind of nicely in terms of wheel and tire sizes. You'll notice quite a few of the manufacturers will go now with a staggered setup. If they put 20s on the front, then they're putting 21-inch on the back. You see it on the Porsche, you see it on the BMW now with the staggered kind of wheel size. But yeah, this paint really pops. I really like the paint. So let's run through some of the options that are fitted to it. You've got that trailer hitch, which is a no-cost option. You've got the dynamic steering system, which is probably why I raved and raved and raved about how nice the steering is in this car, because they've really kind of ironed out the kinks with regards to the dynamic steering. It steers so nice and smoothly, and there's feedback through the steering wheel actually. Obviously not as much as kind of your old school RS4 V8 and that, but it's there. It kind of feels alive in your hands, and it feels playful. And then you feel the kind of power shuffling around with the quattro. So really nice steering. Other options also include panoramic glass roof, black roof rails. You got seat heaters inside, as well as side airbags in the rear. And then you got the Audi rings, which are painted in this nice gloss black color. A lot of people are going for this kind of blackout look around. And then it's all the gloss black that you'll see around the car, with the mirrors and with the window surrounds and things like that. These roof rails are the ones that I just mentioned, roof rails in black. For some reason, I don't know why, they might be able to take perhaps more load or something, but they cost 28,000 Rand according to the spec sheet. And if the bird keeps quiet, we can run through more. But yeah, so I don't know, 28,000 Rand for black roof rails seems a bit excessive, but yeah, that's what it is. And what else have you got? The black mirror housings. You've got the auto dimming mirrors and the exterior ones that fold when you lock the car, but you have to set that. And then for this car, they've spec'd the top speed increase package, which takes the top speed up to 280 kilometers an hour. And that costs about 35 grand. So it's not a cheap kind of upgrade. But if you want to kind of do crazy speeds in your car, not that you can on the highway or anything, but this car will do 280, no sweat, with the long gearing, with that 8-speed gearbox. And then it's also fitted with USB charging interface at the back for rear seat passengers. You've got a wireless charging box. This car does have that sports differential that I was telling you about, that kind of really makes it kind of feel more dynamic and more responsive in your hands. And I've also got the heads-up display in this car, storage compartment package, the black styling package, and then the brake calipers are of course painted in red. These are standard brakes, no carbon ceramics on this guy. And then one of the coolest features has to be the adaptive cruise control, which will kind of maintain the distance to the car in front of you and things like that. And you've also got the electric seats on this one. And then something that you'll really, really appreciate at night are these awesome matrix LED headlamps. They're optional on this car, but one of the cheaper options, I would say, at 9 grand, and something I would definitely take if I was speccing something, to kind of enjoy, do a lot of night driving, a lot of long distance driving. These lights are going to help you a lot. But that's kind of the options for it to it. 254,000 Rand worth of options on the Sonoma Green RS4. So standard price 1,296,000 Rand. And then with the options, 1,550,500 as we're testing it here. So yeah, I'll quickly run through the specs again. 2.9 liter V6 engine with the 330 kilowatt, 600 Newton meter state of tune, driving through the 8-speed Tiptronic. And it'll do 0 to 100 in 4.1 seconds. Top speed of 280 because it's got the optional increased top speed package. And then, yeah, for Audi says it will do around 12.2 liters per 100 kilometers in a combined cycle. I'm not far off. I'm getting 14.7, but that's because I've really nursed it for the last couple of 100 Ks. The first 50 Ks was actually brutal. Went through a quarter tank, I think, in 50 kilometers, kind of exploring the power and getting used to the way the car responds and the engine responds, but it can be very thirsty. On the highway, they say it'll drop as low as 7.5 liters per 100, which is possible depending on your driving style and the route you're taking. Maybe if you're driving around down to the coast and things like that. but overall fairly economical for what you're getting in terms of where RS4 was with the V8, and in terms of where older V6s were. I remember my dad had the 2.7 twin turbo all-road A6. That car would shower fuel like you would not believe. So they've come a long way with V6 technology. Still thirsty, but a lot better than it used to be. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick look around the outside of the Audi RS4. Hope you enjoyed this quick tour. I'll show you around the inside quickly, and I'll kind of give you my final thoughts on the car. I'm averaging 12.4. It's come down quite a bit on this last kind of drive that I've just done, which is very nice. You got the automatic climate control, and there's some of the tactile switches for your drive select and for your auto stop start, traction control, self park, as well as PDC. And over here on the far right, you can turn the screen off if you don't like the screen at night. And one of the best screens that you will ever see in a car. It's fast and responsive, and it really gives you some precise information. You've got a nice radio set up where all your stations are listed. You can obviously stream items, music live, or stuff that's on your devices. I have just disconnected my phone because I'm using it as part of the gear setup here. But you've also got connectivity through Android Auto and Apple CarPlay and things like that. So that's the shifter, fairly traditional Audi shifter, which I like. You kind of swing it over to go into manual mode, and then you can do the Tiptronic shifts. And then you got this nice black detailing all over on the inside that you pay a little bit extra for. And then the aluminium kind of standard that you see there. And then I've got my phone charging in the wireless charge box down here with the USB-C port there if you want to charge with USB-C. And then up here is your controls, pretty much. If you want to get some kind of service or assistance, roadside assistance, you hit that button there. Operate your sunroof, close the sunshade, and that's kind of if you want your interior lights on, reading lights, all of that. But very nicely finished. Being an Audi, excellent quality of materials all around. I mean, this fit and finish, everything is fantastic. You'll see wherever there's a join or something meets, or there's kind of anything, there's no gaps. There's just precision in this car. It feels like a work of art. It feels like an expensive watch that's really been tacked together nicely with care and attention. So yes, it is expensive, but from the driver's seat, and I'm sure from the passenger seat, which is very comfortable, it's actually worth so much more than what you're paying for in terms of the joy it will bring you as a driver's car, and then as a family man's car. I mean, look at all the space that you got in the back there. You've got enough for 2, maybe 3 if you can get them, and baby seats. Definitely 2 with the ISOFIX points, and a cavernous boot. And you got the cavernous, I would say again, panoramic roof with the space at the back. If you're going to carry a lot of people, it's good to know you got an ample leg room with the Avant. Very nicely done in terms of how they've packaged it and how they've given good space and good view out of the back seats, even for rear seat passengers. This one's got the automatic tailgate, strapped in some stuff there, gear so it doesn't fly around, and then a nice sliding parcel cover. And you can retract, if you don't like the tow hitch out, you can retract the tow hitch and have it kind of tucked away under there at the bottom. But I prefer it out because somehow people have forgotten what following distances are, and I prefer having that in case someone decides that they rather drive into the back of my RS4. So they rather drive into the back of my tow hitch first, and then before I show you the engine and call it a wrap, let's quickly have a look at these absolutely fantastic tailpipes. You'll see in there's an active valve that opens and closes. That active valve opens and closes in the dynamic mode, kind of give you more rumble. And I like it because it's not so intrusive as the some of the M's we've tested. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's the front of the Audi RS4. Okay, let's pop the engine cover quickly and show you. This is one of those pull twice type jobs. Kind of heavy considering the aluminium construction, but there you go. A masterpiece of a 2.9 liter V6, heavily packaged, of course, trying to save as much space. Mounted a little bit in front of the front axle, if you follow the front axle line. So where some manufacturers prefer to place the car in line with the axle or behind to give you a kind of a midships vibe, Audi's still hanging the engine over the front axle and kind of then giving you four-wheel drive to sort everything else out. But fantastic engine. It's one engine of the year for many years, and it's a hot V engine with the turbos down there, and kind of got your airbox here sucking away. And I would have liked to have seen more induction noise on this car. That's something that's lacking. Exhaust sounds great. The kind of piped sound, the artificial engine sound and everything that they pipe into the car feels great and sounds great. But I would have really liked a bit more induction raw and pretty much give you that kind of feel, old school feel from an RS car, which used to scream when you put your foot down through the intake. But anyway, that is the Audi RS4 Avant. Thank you so much for spending your time with me on the drive, as well as the look around the car. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you on the next one.